Short. Let me know you're here, please, in the live chat. Thank you very much. I'll start at 4 minutes, as always. Let me know in the live chat that you're here. It's me, Ari Dawson, or as you already know me, Rashid. Back with another live. This is likely just to be an audio live. I might use my whiteboard, but I'll see how this live goes. Again, I'll start at 4 minutes. Let me know if you're here, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me know the live chat when you're here, please. Thank you. Again, I'll start at 4 minutes. Thanks for the 2 thumbs ups. Thank you very much. Victor and him, thanks for being here. I see a lot. I'm glad you're here. Curly girl, I'm glad you're here. Amen. Tonya, I'm glad you're here. Maria, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for that 4 thumbs up. Thumbs up, thank you. Again, I'll start at 4 minutes, so people have the chance to walk in. Thank you very much. All right. It's a bit dark here, still morning, but I hope you can see me. Yeah. By the way, I still have my neck pillow over here that I'm using. So I was just fasting for about a half hour. Then I fellowship on the phone with a fellow believer from the United States, and it led to me doing this live stream. Okay. This live will not be a long one, but it's an update I need to give to you, and I will use this update as a class also. That's why. Maria Saved is here. You have Maria Garcia. Maria Saved. Thanks for being here, Maria Saved. And by the way, can you all hear me clearly? Because I want to check if the audio is correct, because that's important. I'm using my wireless earphones right now. Can you hear me clearly? Let me know. Oh, 6 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Les Brown, we're glad you're here. Les, glad you're here. Okay, you can hear me clearly, which is good. Okay, just 20 seconds and I'll begin. All right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, class has begun. All right, a few days ago, I made this short video of around 1 minute and 40 seconds, I believe, or maybe it was 2 minutes. So anyway, I made this very short video in which I've explained that my wireless mouse disappeared. It fell off the desk, and the desk is right over there, as you can see in the corner. It fell off the desk and it disappeared. Till this day, I didn't find it anywhere. It fell there in the corner, nowhere to be found anywhere in the living room. And I explained to you I was researching some scandal that happened in the Netherlands in the early 20th century. Now, I told you I would keep you updated. Well, I won't go into too many details for obvious reasons, but let me say what it is I figured out. Okay? You can't say it's such a big discovery, whatever, but it was significant enough for the paranormal to make an attempt to confuse me by causing my mouse to disappear. And by the way, demonic entities can cause objects to disappear at a distance. They can do that. They don't have to be in a house to do it. They can just use the electromagnetic field of the earth to cause these things to happen. Okay? And this building I'm in, because I'm in a building now, this house I'm in is part of a building, so there are also a lot of unbeliefs around here with issues. So the demons have access around the area. They don't have access directly to me, but they can affect the environment, if though they can't come too close to me directly. So they caused this mouse disappear, hoping I would give up or be so confused and upset. Didn't happen. Now what I discovered was that Germanic paganism or Germanic witchcraft and Germanic black magic, which centers around worshipping the deity called Wodan. Wodan is the Germanic name for Baal-Ammon. Baal-Ammon is also called Odin in the further north in Scandinavia. Wodan, Odin, anyway, in the Germanic tribes in the south, so from Denmark below, towards the Rhine River and towards the east in Europe, call him Wodan. Okay? It's that same entity we call Santa Claus, Father Christmas, or Father Time. Okay? Now, this Wodan worship involved blood rituals in which they killed horses, pets, in mass as gifts to this entity, including sex rituals on young girls. Okay? Let me keep it at that. And that Wodan worship, or it's called Odin worship in Scandinavia, is still a key thing, also in the Netherlands. But it's kept hidden. Well, you can't keep things hidden forever. Anyway, it has been exposed. And the cruel things they do for this Wodan figure, who's a fallen angel Baal-Ammon anyway, man, the public here is in on it. A lot of women are in on it too. Why are they doing this Wodan worship? To get financial and sexual ease. Financial ease is obvious, to get a charm that will make finances flow easily, so they have a quote-unquote comfortable life. And sexual ease, well, there is sexual insecurity in the population, and sexual insecurities can lead to discomfort and even domestic violence, so you want to have ease in the community. So by having a portion of the girls ritually molested, the other women get relief thinking, oh, at least I was not molested, at least I'm better off. So this narcissistic supply makes the other women feel at ease. So their sexual insecurities are covered by that, for a while at least. So that's what the common female has in on it, gets out of it. And the men get the chance to operate in their base urges with blood all over them, screaming at Wodan and all of that. Anyway, this Wodan worship, or I call it Wednesday worship because Wednesday is named after Wodan. Wodantag. In Dutch, Woensdag. English, Wednesday. In German, they changed Wodantag into Mittwoch. They just call it the middle of the week because they don't want to be associated with Wodan, which is a good thing. But anyway, this Germanic witchcraft, which involves molestation of very young girls, it's something that they keep hidden in this country. Well, I just said it, okay? What are they going to do about it? I said it. And they have their hotspots here where such things take place. But because the public is in on it, it's going to continue. And that's why there is institutionalized racism from this country also, just so that folks are distracted from seeing what's going on behind the scenes. So yes, racism is a tool that's used to divert attention from foreigners as well as other people from noticing what the financial halves of this country are doing to be better off so called. So that is the rabbit hole I went through. Now, the title of this live stream is Escaping the Rabbit Hole. Now, why am I naming this live stream like this? Rabbit hole is a symbolic language. You're not going into a literal rabbit hole dug by a rabbit. First of all, you won't even fit as a grown human being into a rabbit hole. Okay? Rabbits dig holes for obvious reason, to lay in and to be warm, whatever. As a human, going to a rabbit hole, you don't even fit into it. Now, the rabbit is a symbol in paganism, and it refers to the deity Hermes, whose human, quote unquote, human name was Lagos. He was a Greek/Macedonian prince. So this Lagos became the god Hermes or Mercurius, and he's called the god of the thieves. And you can see the medical world uses this magical wand of Hermes as a symbol. That's the staff with the wings on it and the serpents intertwined. Why do they use the rabbit symbol for Lagos? It is because Lagos was also known as the head of the whorehouses. He would be sleeping around all over the place, bringing forth a lot of babies. So that's why they use the rabbit as a symbol in the porn industry also, which is in homage of Hermes. So going down the rabbit hole, it symbolically means you figure out there is some sex scandal, some sex crime going on in the community. The rabbit hole refers to a sexual scandal that the community is in on. It's a sex crime that the community condones behind the scenes. And you figure it out, you have to find out what's going on. That's going through the rabbit hole. And here's the thing. On the internet, there are many rabbit holes that are discussed. Many. But there's one danger about going through the rabbit hole. You will be noticed when you approach the rabbit hole, when you find out the secret or the scandal of the community. So folks, here's the thing, people who are in on the scandal will feel energetically as someone is after them. The moment you notice a scandal, you want to figure out what the heck is going on. The moment you have this inquisitive mindset, saying, oh, something's off, I want to figure it out, you already give off an echo to the Earth's atmosphere and the echo you give off will trouble those who are in on the scandal. So people who are in on it will feel comfortable like someone's after them. So you will be noticed when you encounter a rabbit hole. Second thing is, too often people want to go through a rabbit hole, or they want to figure out some sexual scandal of a community, and the reason they're doing it is because they want to bring justice, or they want to just expose things, that's not really a noble attitude, because once a crime is collective because the people are in on it, you exposing it can also bring you in trouble. So you can only expose it under the direction of the Holy Spirit, or some beings expose things because they have a paranormal cover that covers them for a while. But I don't recommend the paranormal cover, you know that. So once you figure out the rabbit hole and you go through it with your research and figure out what's going on, you need to escape the rabbit hole. Or let me say it like this. You have to find a way to not get stuck in the scandal that you figured out about. Research the rabbit hole to figure out what's going on, fine, do it. But don't get stuck in the topic. And that's the thing. If you don't have the Holy Spirit and you're not renewed in your mind, you'll likely be stuck in the subject. You'll be horrified. You'll be upset, angry at the public unless this happens. And before you know it, you're now in a negative attachment to the scandal you figured out about. You either react by ignoring everything and just escape by ghosting the whole topic. You know what's going on, but you want to talk about it. And by doing that, you become a collaborator, just like the people you can't stand. or you become this activist that wants to spread awareness and end up endangering yourself. So what is the third best option to do once you wake out the rabbit hole? Escape the rabbit hole by remain disconnected from the topic, and then you fast and pray to uproot that scandal, and at the same time, under the guidance of the Holy Spirit, you work towards a solution with like-minded believers. Is this clear to you? Is it clear to you how you deal with those quote-unquote rabbit holes? It's also clear to you why it's dangerous to just go to a rabbit hole without the proper attitude. And that's the thing. A lot of people get so fascinated going through the rabbit hole, take the red pill, figure it out. We are truth seekers. We are the conscious community. People have all types of phrase they use to say, I want to go figure this out, but what will you do with what you figure out? If you figure out a rabbit hole that there is this big sex scandal going on in the community, that public is in on what are you going to do about it? If you just went to the rabbit hole just to prove a point, you put yourself at risk. If you at least want to expose what's going on because you want it to stop, okay, that's at least a noble attitude. But if you are a believer, walk by faith, you realize I need to replace this. And this thing, a rabbit hole, so a collective sex scandal, is only there because the public enables it. So you need to figure out, what does the public gain from this? There's some gain for the public. If there's no gain for the public, they will not be in on it. So always ask yourself the following question when you figure out there's a rabbit hole somewhere. Who gains from what goes on? Repeat it after me in the live chat. Who gains from what's going on? Repeat after me. Who gains from what's going on? I'll wait you to repeat it in the live chat. It's a very important question. Who gains from what's going on? That's a question you should always ask when you encounter a public or collective scandal related to sexuality. Okay, let me give an example. Let's say that there is this, I'm using an example now. Let's say there is a cafe somewhere, okay, where people come to eat and just have a good time. There's a cafeteria somewhere. But that cafeteria is actually used as a brothel where you have those grown men coming to have sex with little boys. Now, this is against the law. This is a pedophile ring operating. It's a crime, absolutely. Now, you figure out this is going on. And you get upset thinking, oh my God, who's those old creeps going after little boys? You get fed up, you want to beat them up, or your emotions are running up. But then you ask yourself, who gains from what's going on? Well, the pedophiles are gaining some release of narcissistic violence. That's what they get out of it. But forget about those creeps. Wow. How long has this been going on? If that's been going on for just 2 or 3 weeks, it's just a new thing. People don't know about it yet. But if it's been going on for years, and if the cafeteria is located in the city center where there's a lot of public, then you need to look further. If the cafeteria was then of course it can happen, nobody notices it because nobody's on a highway on a regular basis, okay? If you have a cafeteria near a highway and you use that as a child pornography hub, okay, then people don't know about it because it's far removed from them, okay? But if there's a cafeteria in the city center or in the center of the village where this happens and you have people walking around on a regular basis, then you have to begin to ask the question, who gains from this? Okay? You have to. Because it's impossible for a child pornography hub to be somewhere in the middle of a city center or the center of a village, and there's people on the streets every day and nobody noticed something. People did notice something. People just don't want to mention it. Why are they mentioning it? What are they getting out of it? Okay. What if the men involved in such things are uh, prominent figures in the community, from a preacher or a school teacher or a banker or whatever. And let's say the wives and children of those people are in town. People figure out, if this comes out, that many of the prominent men of our community are involved in, uh, well, violating boys, violating minors, it's going to be an embarrassment to our community, and we will lose our good reputation. When we lose a good reputation, we're all going to have to suffer it. So they think, you know what? We don't want to deal with the loss of community reputation. So you know what? Let's keep this quiet. We know it goes on. We are upset about it, but hey, it's the school teacher nearby does it, or it's the mayor, or it's the local banker. So keep quiet. So they want to preserve their daily ease. That's why they allow it to happen. So that's what they came from it. They're in on it to preserve the daily ease. It's not a good reason at all, but now you know this goes on. Now, what if those boys that are molested over there, what if they're orphans that were abandoned? Those orphans are proof that the community is failing. Because if the community was functioning properly, no parent would even dare to abandon the children. The fact that so many parents are abandoning their children shows you there's something wrong with the community. And the community doesn't want to face itself. So if those orphans are molested and traumatized, late in life, when they come out to talk, people can always say you're mentally ill because you were molested. They can use the mental illness that they contract against them so that they can't be exposed. So they are in on allowing those orphans to be victimized, so those orphans will not be considered trustworthy witnesses later on. Look, this all dark and stuff, but those are things you need to ask yourself. If there's a rabbit hole somewhere, who gains? Okay? And most of the time, the public gains daily ease. You get me? So the one who gains will keep it going. Listen, there is no tragedy and no systematic violence that can occur on the earth without the public having some benefit to get out of it. Maybe there are many foreigners being sex trafficked over there, grown people. Maybe there are a lot of grown people being sex trafficked over there. There are human traffickers trafficking people up from abroad and bring them over there, and they end up in prostitution. Why would the people allow this to happen? Why? Now, it's very easy. A lot of the men in that community now that have sexual insecurities can go to those hidden brothels, do their thing, and then go at home with their wives and kids and be at ease. So they don't have to deal. So they don't have to deal with the sexual dysfunction in their marriages. So because the public doesn't want to deal with sexual dysfunction in general, now they have an outlet for sexual dysfunction, namely prostitution. From time to time, the police will come by and arrest some people, some of the customers, but in general, they allow it to happen. At least the community can escape from having to face their sexual dysfunction as a community. So, don't get trapped in a rabbit hole by being so upset and emotional about what you figure out. You get me? Don't go into denial either. Face that the public is in on it. Find out what the public gains, and then as a believer, you know what to pray about and what to decree, what to declare, and you know how you, as a group of believers, what you can do about the situation. If the public has sexual dysfunction that they don't want to face, and they are in on sex trafficking now, just so that they can avoid sex dysfunction, you know what? To go out there and tell everyone you're all sexually diseased and effed up. No. Begin to provide courses or lectures on sexual health. The more people become sexually healthy, the less quote unquote need there will be to be on sex trafficking. So you deal with the root. The root is There is sexual dysfunction that the public doesn't want to face. And because of that, now I have an outlet, which is enabling sexual violence on either minors or people who are sex trafficked. But that's a bad thing to do. There's no excuse for it. But instead of going off at the public, offer the solution. You get me? As simple as that. Nobody gains, except demons, nobody gains if you go out there escalating the facts of how bad the community is for allowing this to happen. Nobody wins, except demons will reap the misery that comes from people being upset. Look, you offer the solution at the same time, together with a group of believers, you fast and pray to uproot the psychic contention that's there in the community. All right? Because once you figure out a rabbit hole, you need to understand that rabbit hole, that public or collective sex scandal, it is what keeps the public at ease, often. And it's that same hub of negative contention that also hinders a lot of people in daily life. So when you face brick walls, when you face energetic hinder in your life, don't just decree fire out of the blue, like some believers do. Be solution-based and figure out what is the darkness that needs to be uprooted. If you uproot the darkness and at the same time you're actively operating in the solution, that will be beneficial for many. And remember, most people don't want solutions, okay? They just want to escape. I'm not saying most people are evil, no, but a lot of people are dysfunctional, just want to escape. Now, for you to uproot the rabbit hole in the community, you'll have to force people to face the facts. And there's a good way to do that and a bad way to do it. The bad way to do it is by making YouTube videos, calling people out, but you don't mention Christ, nor the opportunity for better. That's the wrong way to do it. The right way to do it is by addressing the sexual defectiveness and to offer sexual health in return. And then it will become obvious that people don't want solutions when they don't pick up your teachings on sexual health, and that's how it's uprooted, because it's exposed. Once exposed, it can't continue to function anymore. And by the way, understand this. Even mentioning that there's a rabbit hole can get you in trouble. That's why a lot of people out there, they know what goes on, but they don't talk about it. Look, there's a difference between being a coward and being cautious. You got me? So, for example, if you know something's off, but you know that if you mention this, people are going to come after you, and you have children, you may be cautious mentioning it because for the safety of both you and your children. That's being cautious. A coward is someone who says, I don't want to know what goes on. Leave me the F alone. You make up excuses. That's a coward. Not everyone that's silent is a coward. Some people are silent for the right reasons. Okay? But even those that are silent, if they figure out that you know, they'll try to hint to you what goes on. The thing is, just like Tim here is saying, I'm not sure if I pronounce it right. Tim here is saying, if you tell people in their face openly there's an issue, and then you offer them a solution, they often will lose their mind on you because it's too shocking, it's too quote-unquote confronting. But if you use sometimes reverse psychology or use some type of trick to make them face the situation, then realize something needs to be done about it. You get me? And then you as believers can make your move. Because now you brought the population at the point that, okay, we can't deny this anymore. And realize, A rabbit hole is deeply infested in the community. So if a rabbit hole is uprooted, it's going to cause some hurt, it's going to cause some pain in the community once it all comes out and once uprooted. So don't just be focused on exposing things. If you expose things but you're not working to uproot it, you're doing more harm. Exposure without uprooting does harm. When you uproot, it will be exposed anyway. But if you just expose but there's no uprooting, that's adding oil to the fire. And that's what a lot of quote unquote conspiracy theorists are doing. They're not uprooting anything because they're just exposing stuff without contributing to any solution. They're not focused on replacing the bad with better. They only want to expose what's bad without uprooting the bad and replace with better. And nobody is waiting, and nobody will welcome someone who will only come and expose bad stuff. If you want to address something that's bad, may be ready to also contribute to it becoming better. If only reveal things that are bad, but you never are interested in looking for a solution, but you say, well, it's not my problem, it's not this and that. Okay, then why the heck did you mention it? You just mention it just to cause trouble because you want to relieve yourself or because you want attention. So you're adding oil to the fire. We shouldn't do that as believers. All right? All right. By the way, did any of you ever encounter a rabbit hole in your own environment? Let me know in the live chat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now you know what to do about the rabbit hole. Work as a team. Don't do things all by yourself. There are things you can do by yourself, researching. When it comes to uprooting, join with fellow believers, fast and pray. This is what you do. Work as a team, not by yourself. If you came late to the stream, please replay later to check the beginning also. A rabbit hole is a public, deep-rooted sex scandal. It's a crime that the public is in on because they enable it. And most of the time, it relates to the paranormal. One thing you should never do once you figure out there's a rabbit hole is just go in the streets and run your mouth. That can get you killed sometimes. There were people that figured out about the rabbit hole and they ran their mouths either on social media or on YouTube, whatever, and they got in trouble. Some of them were set up by police officers to be jailed. Others just disappeared. So don't just go out and run your mouth. That's not wise. If you figure out it's a rabbit hole, that's what you do. You recognize it. You pray and fast about it. You look deeper into it. You figure out what does the public gain, and then you focus on how can we, as a group of believers, replace this with better. That's what you do. Good. Again, thanks for the 11 thumbs up. Thank you very much. So, for the believers in the Netherlands, you know now what we need to uproot over here. This Wodan cult, or whatever name they go by. Some people are neo-pagans. They just use those Germanic gods as inspirational figures. I don't know how you can do that. So they're not involved in all those weird sex crimes, but hey, this Wednesday worship that goes on, that's what needs to be uprooted over here. It's not only the Netherlands, it happens in more places. But anyway, that's the big rabbit hole of this country. I don't know what the rabbit hole in your area is. Figure it out and deal with this as a team. All right? Deal with the root, not with the fruit. Too often we fight the symptoms. Arresting the perpetrators is just fighting the symptom. The root is there's some dysfunction in the community that's left unaddressed. And because that dysfunction is not addressed and dealt with, that's why that collective crime was able to happen. Oh, the state of, do you mean the state of Georgia in the United States or the Republic of Georgia in the east of Europe? In the state of Georgia? Yes. That Wednesday worship or that Wodan worship or Germanic witchcraft or Germanic black magic is something that the European diaspora or white folks, or what I call them, the European diaspora, that that were born inside of Europe, is something a lot of them do behind the scenes. So a lot of German Americans, so a lot of white Americans from German ancestry or Dutch or Scandinavian ancestry also are involved in this. So yes, so just be aware of this. Okay, I'm serious. Beware of this. All right. I already mentioned the state of Kansas in the United States, with Wichita being a hub of human trafficking. But check the Midwest of the United States in general. For example, the state of Minnesota, the state of Wisconsin, Michigan. There are even a few towns in Michigan named after Dutch places. Okay, so watch this place in Michigan too. Well, those devil worshippers think they can hide. Well, they can hide from the public who's distracted and chasing relief. They can't hide from me. I see what goes on. I see through what they're doing. Those devil worshippers use disguises to disguise what they're doing behind the scenes. And I can just see right through it. Well, they forgot that men like me exist. But anyway, I'm just glad you all are listening to this live stream and you're listening to my teachings and you put them in practice. All right? We won't be able to uproot every evil from the earth. We're not able to do that as believers, but we are able to uproot the evil on a frequent basis. We are able to frequently uproot evil and expand glory throughout the earth. We're able to do that. So, are there any questions related to this topic? Let me know in the live chat. Thank you very much. I told you this live stream will be short, but I just wanted to inform you about this and also give you instruction how to deal with the rabbit hole once you counter it. Drugs and devil worshippers go hand in hand, absolutely. Those places are high drug trafficking areas. Okay, can be the case, true. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know in the live chat. I'll stay for a minute more to see if I get any questions. If I get no questions, I'll close down the live chat. I mean, the live stream, I mean. What do you want me to expand on about this Wednesday worship or the worship of this deity Wodan, which we know is a fallen angel Baal Ammon? It's done, and it's been going on since ancient times. During the during the Roman Empire, during that era, the Romans uh, kind of suppressed this when this worship of Wodan, kind of suppressed it because the Germanic tribes went quite far with it. Oh, hold on. Trolls keep coming to this live chat, but anyway, just had to block someone. But okay. So after um, the West Roman Empire fell, the Catholic Church began to suppress it. In the 19th century, at the end of the 18th century and the beginning of the 19th century, there was this revival of Germanic witchcraft, Germanic black magic, and there were groups being formed all over Europe and also in the United States and in other European colonies, where those of Germanic ancestry, so so people from Germanic includes Anglo-Saxon ancestry, they wanted to go back to the roots of their far ancestors. So they began to reconstruct those pagan practices in back then, but those pagan practices were so brutal that a lot of the people that joined those groups eventually left and they reported them to the police, and the police forces stopped them. So they went undercover. And in the early 20th century, you had a lot of those groups springing up, conducting this. Oh, and by the way, this Wednesday worship or Wodan, worship of Wodan was also something that was part of Nazi Germany, but that's another topic. It went on over there. Oh, and by the way, let me say this Wednesday worship was one of the reasons why a lot of Europeans supported the Nazi party, because they recognized something of their ancestral value in it. So it still goes on till this day, but since the 1920s, they've realized we need to be very cautious about this. So there's nothing wrong with Wednesdays, because a Wednesday is a day like Thursday and the other day, but they named Wednesday after Baal Ammon. Okay. Now, in some languages, they refer to Wednesday as a day of Mercury. Mercury is another name for Hermes. Do you get me? Comes from dies Mercurius or something. Dies Mercuri. That's the Latin for the day of Mercury. They use it for Wednesday because the Romans already used Saturday, Dies Saturni, the day of Saturn, to glorify Baal Ammon. So they didn't want to use 2 days to worship the same deity. Okay? Later, the day of Saturn was replaced with the term Sabbath that the Hebrews used. Saturday. But you can still, in Portugal, say sábado, Sabbath, and in Spain is sábado, so referring to the Sabbath. But for example, in English, say Saturday, so you can retrace Saturn, Saturnus in it, referring to Saturnalia also, which was the Roman Christmas celebration, and Saturnus, another name for Baal Ammon, which is called Kronos in Greece. So that's all is related to one another. So I expand a little bit more on this Wednesday worship. Are there any more questions here? Remember, this Wednesday worship thing, it does work for the public and for those involved in it, but it's always short-lived, as everything from the paranormal is. The thing is, when you worship the Heavenly Father and walk in His ways, you don't need to bring blood sacrifices anymore. You don't have to violate another human being. You don't have to transfer negative energy. You don't have to use scapegoats. None of that. You'll be provided for, and you will be happy and glad. But that's the thing. Too many of those fanatic pagans, they're too suspicious and too proud to rely on the Heavenly Father. By the way, that's something they'll regret forever once they're dumped in the lake of fire. But anyway, to you who listen to me, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Keep on agreeing with Christ. Be at peace. And I'll see you next time.